All right, welcome everybody. Mark here from Mark Builds Bricks. We have a humongous review for you today. This is a really big set that we've built, my first BAKA set as well. So this is really, really cool. This is the BAKA Brotherhood of Harpist, set number 33243. It is a little over 7,143 pieces. It is also inspired by the iconic Lord of the Rings majestic stronghold. As you can see on the screen, this is not a small set. It is huge. So there it is in centimeters for you of how big this set is. But speaking of, barweer, thank you very, very much for sending me this for review. And here's a little thing on barweer for you. So let's talk about barweer, your number one source for alternative brick sets right now out there. So jump over to their website, check out the wide variety of brands that they do have, anything from Mold King, BAKA, Cada, reobrix, lumibrix, pantasy, and a ton more for you to check out. If there's interesting IPs that you want to build, they have you covered as well. They have Garfield, Astro Boy, Pokemon, Sherlock Holmes, just the name of the few really cool IPs that they do have. Talk about shipping. barweer has also got you covered there. They have great 7-day warehouses in the States as well over in Europe. And also you still have the fabulous global shipping to make sure your sets get to you as safe as sound so you can start building them. We are barweer affiliates. So barweer wants to give you, my viewers, 14% off using code MarkBuildsBricks at checkout on anything that you purchase on their website. All affiliation links and promotion will be in the video description for you, as well as a huge thank you for using those because you do support this channel by using those links. So thank you very much. Also check out barweer on Facebook, barweer shopping, as well over on Reddit, barweer mock for more coupons and news of anything coming out from them. Now back to the video. All right, we're back. We're going to jump into this review like we normally do, stage by stage by stage by stage, and talk about everything that we've done throughout the whole build. And sit back, relax, like we always ask you to do, like, comment, and subscribe. And let's jump into the review. Welcome. All right, so here is the manual for this fantastically huge set. Brotherhood of Harpist is the name of the building of all the sets that we're building. It is part of the Valley of Twilight, typical like Lord of the Rings type themed of buildings that go together. Set number 33243 is that, 14 plus, very standard build. I would put this more of a beginner to intermediate build. It just takes a little bit of time to build just because it is over 7,000 pieces, so there's nothing really complex or anything complicated, so intermediate level or under type of a build. But here's the manual itself. As you can see, bags 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 would cover most of this stuff being built, as you can see, and then 6 to 9 is this section, which finishes basically the first half of the build, and then you're getting into 10, 11 to 12, which is the bottom structure, and then 13, 14, 15 is starting to finish off the structure and getting the first part of the building done, and when you get to 16, 17 is finishing up the last part of the building and then putting everything together on this side of everything. Bags will range anywhere between 3 and 6 as a set, depending on what stage you're at. Some of them are 3 bags, some are 6 bags. So just a heads up on that. Color coding throughout the whole thing looks really good. Nothing out of the ordinary of the way things are designed. There is a couple of steps in here where they have a few steps on the page, but then they have little instructions, blurbs of how to put the mini set together before you put it into place. In a couple of sections, it's a little confusing on where it is, especially the way you're following the numbers and stuff like that. But all in all, not too hard to follow the instructions, honestly. Did I have any issues with the clutch and stuff like that? Yes, some of the bricks do not fit 100%. I would give it a solid maybe 7 or 8 out of 10 on the clutch, because there's some areas, some pieces that they just fit a little too tight and it was a little tough to get in. But all in all, 80% of this build went together nice and smoothly. There's a couple of things that just do not fit and they keep falling out because it's just the way that they are. So be wary of any of that. But all in all, once this is all done and put together, you're pretty much not going to touch it. You're just going to keep it as a display. But here it is. Instructions are pretty straightforward. As you can see, putting the whole building together has a nice little part inventory list in the back, just in case if you're missing any pieces. I was not missing any pieces whatsoever in this set. All the bags are numbered and grouped together very nicely and had no issues. But here is a diagram or a fantastic picture of all the sets in this, or the Valley Twilight. So we only built this section right here. This is the section we built, just that area. I believe that's the area we built. No, we built just this area right here. This is the only spot we built right here that goes this direction. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. You got at least 4 or 5 other sets for this. So if this from the floor to here is 29 inches, so just think how big this thing's going to be when it's completed. But this is the manual. As I said, it was very easy to understand and straightforward, and you should be able to get through it with no issues. All right, so we got stage 1 completed of this BAKA, Brotherhood of Harpist. I almost forgot what it is. Set number 33243. It's part of the big multiple sets called the Valley Twilight. So this is one of the sets. This is a big build, just to let you know. 17 bags, average 3 to 6 bags per bag sets. So we're at the very start. First, we've got a layout of basically what it's going to be sitting on. So we do have a nice little water effect here at this end. It looks like we're going to have a waterfall hit this area. It looks like we got some splash effect and rippling of the water, which is pretty cool. We've got some stuff that's going to be in this area, of course, because we're going to build up. But basically in this section right here, because this sits on a huge mountain of a castle type thing. It's a castle on top of a mountain, and this is just one section of the big castle. We've got a box. We prepped a box. So basically just a bunch of 1x16s, 1x8s, 1x6s, 1x10s, 1x12s, and some plates and some snots, as you can see, to get ready, because we're going to be actually attaching the mountain type in this box. But basically this box is going to go right here. It's going to sit basically like that on this base once we get going. So there you have it. That's stage 1. We've got a long way to go, so let's keep going. Oh, one thing, the bricks have been going together very nicely. This is my first BAKA set that I have built as well, so a big shout out to barweer for sending this to me as well for review. So far it's going really smooth. Well, another stage done. Bags 2 completed. This is not going to be small build. This is not going to be small. I'm just thinking, imagine if I had all the sets for this to combine it all together. I would have to move out of my house. This might be bigger than I really think. So luckily, we are only doing the one set at the moment. We've got a big box. We said we built that, but we decorated the whole side to make it look like a cliff mountain type scenario. Same on both sides, basically, with a slight deviance of change. And then we also have got this framed piece put on top as well, with some nice cross bracing and stuff like that. The whole nice and secure. Everything's attached nicely, as you can see. So that was the bulk of this part of the build. A lot of repetitive beat for all the face of the cliff and stuff like that. But hey, it's looking good. It's really going together really smoothly as well. So I'm very impressed with that. I really had no issues at all with anything yet. So we got a long way to go. We're going into stage 3 next. All right, stage 3 completed, and we got a lot done here. Lots of repeatable steps in this one because you're building a lot of columns, as you can see. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You got 12 columns just on the side, plus you've got other ones, so 12, 14, 15, probably about 16 columns, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 20. You got a lot of columns, let's just say. Lots of columns. We do have some other details as well. Printed stickers. There's stickers. There's no printed pieces, but other than that, it's like a grand hallway type scenario so far. It looks like what we're building. Some interesting details. We got some shields and some plaques with different types of artwork on the plaques. We got a nice little statue with a king's helmet type crown, and we have another statue on the other side with an actual king crown type scenario. We also got a nice little glass with a flower inside of it, and also we have a letter with on a door stand in the corner as well. But all in all, it's going together pretty good. It was a bit of a, as I said, a repeatable steps over and over, but the outcome looks really great. And the next step is to pretty much get most of this on and get it on the actual main base and continue going. So we got a long way to go. Stage 4 coming up. Right, so here we have stage 4 completed, and we've got more structure on top of structure at the moment. As we built in the earlier stage, which is the part on the bottom with all the columns and stuff, with this nice little grand hallway type scenario, where this structure on the top has a really funky table right in the middle. It's kind of hard to see through there. Well, maybe you can see it now, but it's an interesting maybe solar system type table or some type of medieval, I don't know. But it is kind of interesting. It's got a nice little pattern on the table and stuff like that. Fits the room really nicely. We do have some simulated lights in all 4 corners of that room inside there. There's no actual lights in this, but it's basically little lanterns to simulate that there would be lights in that area. We also have some nice dark decorations around the archway of the architecture. This one, it's got so much depth and stuff like that, so it's kind of neat with the gears and stuff like that and the wings on this side as well, and on the other side, identical archways, decoration above there. And of course, we have our extended area here, which looks like we're gonna have the roof coming in at this part as well. But all in all, this is the bulk of the 2 stages, or at least this stage completely is the top part of this. So all in all, it is looking pretty good so far. It's going together fairly smoothly. There's a couple of spots where the clutch was a little too tight, trying to get some of the pieces in together. But all in all, the brick quality has been very good, and it is going together very smoothly. All right, we've completed another stage, and look at this beast. Holy smokes. Now, I turned the green screen off my main camera, hence you can see it in the background, because there is green in the tile work or in the design of this, because it's using some big tile lime green plates, which happens to be the same color as my lime green screen. So you would get some really funky things happening if I turn the camera or the green screen filter on. Other than that, holy smokes, this thing is getting really big. It's like a Mount Olympus type of scenario. This is getting pretty large. Just imagine if I had all the sets for this whole kingdom thing that what was this called again? The Valley of Twilight. That would be interesting. Anyways, fantastic roof line. Very interesting design with the angles and a nice cutout in the back as well. Both sides look pretty much identical to the way it's designed and everything. My little pet peeve is these little round 1x1s that are in this design, which are right in here. The clutch was a little too tight for pretty much 80% of them. So you probably, when you see the build video, you see me using another brick to push them in, because they were a little tight to get in. But other than that, the roof was very easy to put in, and it clips into some angle brackets basically very easily. And it's on there solid, as you can see. No loose pieces whatsoever. But it's looking good. It's getting pretty big. It's getting pretty big. Well, yeah, we'll go with that. It was smooth. The roof line was basically the main thing that we were building. I think the next section is this dome part that we got to put on the top of the roof here. But I don't even think we're halfway yet. I think we're going into stage 6 of 17. So we got a lot to do still. All right, stage 6 completed, and it's the first section of the dome or the roof section that's going to go up on the middle of the roof of this building. This is the first level of it. There's another level that we're going to put on top. But all in all, pretty strong, secure structure. We do have some little spots having a little bit of clutch issues, but once they're in place, everything stays in place very nicely, which is really great. I'm mindful of where the studs are on this side here, just so, because you're turning this a lot while you're building it, just remember where that is. That will help you line up which direction that goes within the instructions. We have the nice little green within the light beige tan, which is looking really good. It does a nice little color contrast. Plus we do have these off brown dark tan type pieces underneath little columns that give me a little bit of a structure and stuff like that, which will go nicely with the top of the roof because it has that coloring as well with the tiles and the decoration on that as well. So far so good. We got another stage to put the top part on coming up next. Stage 7 completed, and we're working on that center column of the main building up on top of the mountain cliff. And so these are basically 2 stages combined. So stage 6 and stage 7 to build these both sections basically, and not too bad. I do have an issue. These little archways with the fenced in windows, basically, these don't fit in super snugly. Be very careful. I don't know if you're going to do it on your set or whatever. If your thumb accidentally grabs any of these things, you might pop them out. Very easy to just pop them back in and stuff like that, but these do not fit 100% touch wise, so they do pop out fairly easily. So just a mental note on that. But on that, some really good detailing, as you can see. We do have a bird weather vane type scenario where this one of these pieces here, again, fragile, it pops off fairly quickly. We do have a sticker on a shield right in this section, sitting on that little pedestal piece. We do have a table, or sorry, a little bowl. Some fruit and stuff is supposed to be in there. But you know me about loose pieces. I'm not going to put it in there until we're finally finished the build, because they're just going to fall out and I'll lose them, basically. So if they're not set in place, I'm not putting them in at the moment. And then we have this really cool little telescope and a bow and arrow attachment here on this balcony. There is a treasure chest in the middle of the second floor with 2 gems inside the treasure chest. But other than that, there's pretty much going to be no way to actually access them or see them once this is all completed anyways. But all in all, looking pretty good with the green and the light tan and stuff like that. So it's got this very medieval, not really, more like a fairy type scenario in the Lord of the Rings type area. That type of vibe to it as well. And the white balconies and the white outlines around everything really gives it good accents. But we're getting there. We're almost there. We're almost at the halfway point, I would say. Let's jump into the next stage. All right, another stage completed. Stage 8. More architecture, more design to this tower part that we're building up. So we got some really interesting archways, how these were built. The most interesting thing that I've built were these archways and how they were built. Everything else in this build so far has been pretty standard type building. Nothing too outrageous or interesting, but still a fun build. It's just these archways, it was very interesting on how we actually put those together and slid them into place, because there's basically one long technique that holds this brown archway, the green archway, into the wall itself. So pretty cool on how that is done. It is looking pretty good. This thing's going to be massive. I don't even know how I'm going to get this all in the frame when we add, there's a 3rd section I think we're still building on top of this still. And then we got to put it on top of what is already a pretty tall build so far. So this will be interesting on how I'm going to film this. But all in all, it is looking good so far. And it's been a fun build. And this thing, it just keeps growing. It's just getting taller and taller. A nice detail in the tower. As you can see, we added this section in this basically stage. We built all this up. It might feel a little fragile when you're building this section up, but it actually gets nice and tight and solidifies nicely once you get the plates all in nicely. So it does well. But these archway with the little fences inside, they just don't grip in there properly. All of them are pretty much the same. So be very careful of poking your finger or thumb through those, because they will pop out very easily. But we have some nice flowers, decoration and stuff like that. Down here in this white decoration area, we got basically 2 frogs per side. So we got nice little white frogs with a nice little white rose in the middle. But it's looking good. It's bringing some nice little color to everything. It's looking great. But here is the fun part. We need to attach this to the main building itself. So we're going to do some interesting things here. Give me a second. I'm going to take this camera off, and we are going to pop this camera on. Now you can see the big green screen. I'm not going to turn the green screen on just because we have green in this set. It will look really weird doing so. But here we go. Here is the top of where we're building from all the other sections before. So this is going to go this way. So we pop this up, we put this in place, and a nice little, there we go. It is in place. This is already very tall. I hope we're not building any more upward. I think hopefully we're done with the scale upward, just because I have no idea where else is it going to go. But there you have it. That's what it looks like. It is pretty big here. Let me scroll up a bit for you. Yeah, we're still going. There you go. There's the top. Now we come all the way back down. My camera's fully zoomed out. And there's the base, the cliff itself. So this is going to be huge of a build. Really big. All in all, it's pretty cool. It does have some fragile parts to it, as I said, but all in all, it's been going together pretty smoothly, except for a couple areas in this section here where the clutch either is not very good on those little white arches and window fences type thing, and a couple of pieces just not fitting super great. But other than that, all in all, it's been a fantastic build so far. But we're only halfway. We're jumping into stage 10 of 17, by the way. Whew. Let's keep building. Stage 10, which is basically the other half of this build, basically. As you can see, we got a very sturdy block of building, lots of snots, lots of braces. So this is basically the pre-setup where there's going to be another stack that goes on top of here, and then the building will be built up, basically. And then, of course, all the cliff face, all the nooks and crannies of how the cliff is going to shape and feel and stuff like that will all be attached to this. So this is going to be the solid structure that's underneath the cliff and underneath the other half of the building that we're putting together for this set. So how much else I can talk about for this section? But this gives you a good idea of the structure that is going to be holding everything up, as I mentioned. So we still have to build more up. We still got to build another little section up, and then we can start attacking the actual building, and then hopefully we can attach it and get the cliff face all built out. So let's jump into the next stage. All right, so we got another stage done, stage 11, and as you can see, more structure being built up. Plus, we do have some water effect going through the middle. So it looks like we're gonna probably have a waterfall or something going down the front here. We got some more build up. We got some archways. We got some more braces put in place for another archway here. I think we're getting close to building up some more of this to even it out before we start building up on top, which is going to be the building. So this is the last couple of stages is basically structure work, as you can see. Lots and lots of structure work, but it's looking pretty good. It is going to be massive when we add this to the rest of the building that we've already built. But so far, very repetitive 2 stages so far building, but no complications. All the pieces are going in quite nicely. There is a little bit of clutch issue with some of the pieces going in, but just press down nicely and it gets them all into place nice and even. And I really don't want to take this apart. So I think it's pretty structured, pretty good going through. So let's get into the next stage to build this up, and then hopefully we'll start getting into the building and the decoration of the rock face for the cliff. So after stage 11 of just a lot of repetitive building, the structured core of this other half of this magnificent build, by the way, this stage 12 is the start of basically decorating the facade or the cliff faces or the rock formations around as we build. So we built out this whole internal area here with the sides with some details, and this side with some texture details as well. And again, building out so we have some rock face inside here. Now, I will point out one of these at the top is not actually connected into the stud correctly, but it is in there very securely. It doesn't fall out or anything. For some reason, it is lined up, but it's just not popping on, or the clutch is just not getting in. But that's my only small little issue in this area. But other than that, everything else went in super smooth, and it is going together quite nicely on that side. Now, speaking of the other side, we have a waterfall. Check that out. So we've built out this detail inside, plus we also lined both sides. As you can see, there's details, as you can see, on each side to give it some nice interesting texture, rock face and stuff. But we built out a nice little waterfall effect. This would actually be really cool to have some lights in the back of this to make it light up and stuff like that, like some pulsating lights just to make the effect, the water sparkling as it goes over. That would be really cool. But all in all, this is this effect's looking really good. It takes a little bit to wedge in once you get everything set in place, but once it's done, it's connected in pretty solidly, and you just have to pop a couple of pieces back on so far. But all in all, we're starting to decorate the base of where this building is going to be sitting on. So it's looking good, pretty good. So let's keep going. All right, so we jumped ahead to stage 14 because the past couple of stages is basically building out this rock formation and structure to get to this little house or just little building section put on. The green building section is actually pretty cool. We've got a nice little table with some gears and a nice little orb ball on it sitting on a table in the middle of the room. We do have some decoration on one side of the wall, nice pillars and stuff like that with the browns and the whites and stuff. We got some nice decoration here to give it like a shield signature type scenario. Same on the other side, just over the waterfall as well. Same design on this side of the wall going over it. Again, this is our first structure of the actual building by this point on the second half of this build. As I said, the last couple of stages is basically building this rock formation and structure up to put everything up nice and high. It looks like it's on top of a cliff. But all in all, it's pretty solid. It's going together pretty good. It's a lot of a repetitive and a lot of little pieces of designs and stuff like that. So be wary, put some good tunes on, and sit back and do the next few stages over and over again, because that's pretty much what you're doing to build this up. But it looks good so far. All right, so we've made it up to stage 17, but this is actually 15 and 16 combined together because it was a lot of repetitive parts or repetitive steps putting in these columns, but they look absolutely great. We are getting a nice form of the building on top of this rock cliff. It's looking good. We still have to attach this to the actual big building. I don't know how I'm going to get that on camera because we pan the camera this way. There is the rest of the build right there. That is going to have to come over here soon. So I don't know how we're going to get this in the shot, but all in all, it looks really good. I like the contrast with the green, browns, and the tans with the whites doing a little bit of a pop in there as well. We have a nice little interesting thing on the table here. I'm not sure what it's quite for, something astronomical. I don't know, but it's got some nice little detail there. Again, inside this little tower, it's hard to see, but there's a little bone and arrow on a little pedestal in there, and inside this little spot in this one there is a sticker on a flat piece to represent a book that is stored on a table in that section. Nothing on this balcony here at all at this moment, but we still have a whole stage to go for the rest of this. But all in all, it is looking good. It is massive. Again, I believe this is over 7,000 pieces of this whole total set, and this is a big one. So stay tuned. We are in the last stage coming up, and then I'll give you my final thoughts of the whole build, and we'll figure out how to get it on camera. All right, so here we have the completed Brotherhood of Harpist build. Now, I'm going to be using my extra camera because we're going to zoom into this because this thing is so big I can't fit it into the frame with my normal setup. So this is a beast of a build, but it looks fantastic, really good. There's lots of cool architecture, as you can see, with all the nice archways and the curves and stuff like that throughout the whole design. The roof line with some of the nice texture as well to give it a little bit of a decorative feel to this as well. But it's basically you're building this bottom section here, and then you're building this section, and then you're building that section, and then you're building this part, and then you piece it all together. So these two pieces, you can actually separate them and to move it around, because this is a little bit tricky to move around as well. I do wish the base was a little bit more mills plated or better structured design on the plates that it does sit on, because picking it up, some of the pieces do come loose fairly quickly. So be mindful of trying to move this from point A to B. As you're going to build this, definitely like up the bottom first for sure. Other than that, there's another fragile area that we'll get into in a second, but we're going to take this camera and we're going to do some little zooming in. As you can see, I have it on a turntable at the moment, but this is the base and this is the size of this. Holy smokes. And we're still going. all the way up to my key light, basically. So there it is. So this actually stands about 29 inches tall, give or take, from the base to the highest point. And I believe it's about 15 inches long in total. So again, this is just one out of 5 or sets that all goes together. So just think how big this is going to be when you get all the sets for this. But as we go through, as you can see, we have some nice little decorative on the roof itself. Going into the balcony, on this side of the balcony, we have a nice little, like a telescope with an archery bow. On the other side is like an easel type scenario. Over on this side, we have a nice little bowl, which is supposed to have some fruit, but I don't like loose pieces, so I just did not put them in because they're very easy to lose them. And you have a nice little staff on that side. And coming down to this area, now this is the fragile area of this part of the build. Each one of these is only on basically a stud, a little bit more, but these ones are you got to watch your thumbs when you're pushing stuff in. Stuff will pop out very easily in here, but basically in between each column, and the same on the other side, there's an actual little table with a inkwell and a letter. Got some holding up some artwork with stickers on them. We have some statues with a crown and a different helmet on the other side. And again, the stairwell comes down, but don't forget, this is supposed to be over on this side is a whole other section that's supposed to be added on to here. We have nice little design with the cliff face. More detail on this side near the big waterfall. This waterfall looks absolutely fantastic, by the way. This would look really cool with a light kit, like little sparkly lights and stuff like that as the water tumbles down. We got some nice architecture work. Now this side and the other side is basically identical. There's really no much difference. Each one of these pillars has a little item inside. This one has a staff. This one has like a little telescope. One has a little book with a sticker on it to represent a manual or some type of from that time period, and another archer bow and arrow. Up towards the top, you can see lots of arches and stuff like that going through. Now here is the second thing, and a big pet peeve of mine, is these little arch windows with the little lattice inside. None of these lattices fit in nicely. They all pop out super easy, and they just come out and they just fall and all that. So they do not sit in. Every one of them does not have any clutch whatsoever. So I don't know if that's just a design of how those pieces were made, but none of them sit in nice and tight and all that. So they do tend to fall out. So be mindful of that. See if we could get the other side here for you. And again, this is not decorated down in this bottom part again, because we are going to other sections, stuff like that. So you wouldn't see this. This would be covered up either by the wall or the other that you do set this up with. Now inside here, we have a nice little cool little table with some gears and a nice little orb with a globe and with something inside of it. Like I believe it's like a flower of some sorts. And again, we have some nice little archways on those windows. And again, those lattices and those window frames always just pop out left, right, and center. So be wary of that. We have nice more rock textures on this side. And as you can see on this side of the build, pretty much identical. So when you get into the last of the build, you're basically repeating yourselves from stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4 scenario. So once you get to there, I would say to save time, double up the pieces, and then you should be able to knock out all 4 sides fairly quickly. We do have some really good architecture on the arches and the way the arches are designed here, which is really, really cool. Gives so much detail and everything. And again, we have a nice little shield with a sticker on it. And as well, we have another, like it looks like a bird, chicken, or something like that on type of telescope or some sorts. And we also have some nice little designs up here. These designs are pretty cool. These are like light frogs being used as little sculptures underneath. So gives it a pretty interesting design. Nice little archway hidden in there within the way the roof line, because this tower actually goes right through the roof and coming into the most fragile area of the build. Like these things just pop out. So be careful with your thumbs and everything going through that section itself. But all in all, this is a fantastic looking set once it's completed. We get down to this side of the grand hall here. So here we have the grand hall. It's kind of hard to see in there because there's no lighting in the room. This is not a modular, so it doesn't come apart in any way, shape, or form. But we have a nice little astronomical table, which is kind of hard to zoom in. There we go. So you can see it a lot better right now. Little table design there with some orbs and stuff like that and everything. So pretty cool. It looks really good. Now with the rest of this, it's going to be very interesting for the whole set to be built. Like as I said, this is a beast, just over 7,000 pieces. I think it's like some odd pieces, but a lot of it went into the structure down at the bottom here, building out the structure to raise everything up to make it look like it's on a cliff face. And I would say a good 2,000 and some odd pieces is just down in this area, structure mostly, and then putting the facades on the cliff faces. And the rest of the build is basically the building itself. I recommend it, fully recommend it. If you are into like Lord of the Rings type of theme, I think this is supposed to represent like the Lord of the Rings person. So I watched the movies, but I don't know all the ins and outs. But I basically, fairies, a section where the fairies live and stuff like that. I think this is supposed to all represent that type of, in that type of mythical area and stuff like that. So I think it looks really good, especially with the greens and everything and stuff laid out. It's a very good looking set. It does take some time. I think this took me about 15 hours to put together total, some breaks in between and stuff like that for other things I needed to do. But all in all, recommend it. Will be in the description. And again, barweer, humongous thank you very much for sending this to me for review. Also, barweer is going to be giving you a 14% discount using my code BRIX. Use that code to purchase this set and you'll get an extra discount if it's not on sale. But if it is already on sale and it's better than my discount, definitely out, because barweer always has some interesting sales going on. Subscribe like we always ask you to do, and thank you very much for watching this one. We will put a build video together for this one, so you'll see the build go really quickly. Check that one out, coming up to the channel very soon. Other than that, we got a tons more stuff coming. Also has something else that they're going to be sending me, so we're going to be looking forward to that for the build. Plus, I bought 4 sets from barweer as well to check out, so we got a ton of content coming. So stay tuned for that. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next review.